Hey guys, and welcome back to another Mission Chief video. This one we're not going to be building anything, so if you're not interested in that, well, sorry to say. But I'm going to be showing you guys how I make a metric ton of credits. So without further ado, let's get started. So the main thing that I've done is actually I went through Mission Chief's Facebook page and I wrote down every single event. This is going back the last 4 or 5 years, whenever they started posting on Facebook and doing 2x events. I went on their Facebook, and it showed every single 2x event that they had. Sorry, my dog's itching himself. I think he got it. No, okay, there we go. Now I think he's done. Anyways, I wrote down every single 2x event that they did in the last 4 or 5 years, and I wrote down a big compiled spreadsheet and calendar, and I wrote them all down, and that pretty much sums up on how I dedicate this next section of what I want to tell you. So the next section, so one is getting a calendar showing all their dates that they have 2x events. The second thing you need to do is, I'm a free-to-play player per se. I pretty much make all my coins by doing the daily logins, doing the tasks and events that give you a coin, and I've pretty much been grinding coins for like the last 2-3 years and not really spending them. But when I do spend them, it's usually on premium time, which pretty much pays for itself. With premium time, every 7 days you can claim 5 coins, which pretty much pays for itself in essence. Okay, sorry, I'm a little off topic, but anyways, with the calendar, marking down every single day that the 2x events are available. The one very predictable thing that Mission Chief did was their birthday. Now, their birthday happened roughly around the 20th, 21st, 22nd, just a few days ago of June, and it was their 9th birthday this year. So they did 72 hours of premium time, 2 times this year. Last year they did the same thing, and I assumed they were going to do one of two things: double credits, which was almost guaranteed, or they were going to do a 20% off stations with credits. Unfortunately, they didn't do 20% off stations with credits. They instead did 72 hours of 2 times, which they did last year. Anyways, sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked here. But what I do is when I know the calendar, I know there's a lot of 2x events, I purchased premium time. Where's premium? Okay, premium account. Here we go. So I ended up purchasing 6 months of premium time. Now, I purchased it strategically to get as many 2x events as I possibly could. The main ones are Christmas, which actually I should probably find the list. It's somewhere. I should have pulled it up. But the list of 2x events is actually in our alliance, in our Discord and stuff like that. I don't have it with me currently, but here's just to sum up the main ones: Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Well, actually, I don't know if New Year's actually has it. Anyways, 4th of July is gonna have it. So if you guys missed out on this 2x event, 4th of July, which is coming up in roughly 2 weeks, gonna be possibly 24 hours of 2x credits. When I say possibly, I mean it's like a 99.9% chance of there being a 2x event. So 4th of July, and of course Mission Chief's birthday, which was 72 hours. Next year is going to be their 10th birthday, which is going to be, I'm going to assume they're going to do something wild. I think they're going to do something more than 72 hours with the credits. I think they'll do something very, very interesting. What else do they normally do? New Year's, if I said that. What else am I missing? Labor Day, I think they do as well. And a few other ones. Like I said, I made a whole list of 2x events, and strategically, I purchased it at a very strategic time where I could get all these holidays and 2x events. Now, there's a few months out there, there's no 2x events. There's really nothing out there. So I strategically purchased it at a very specific time, so I can take advantage of all those dates before it runs out. Okay, with that being said, that's behind the scenes. This last event, which was, like I said, Mission Chief's birthday, the 9th birthday, I made so much money. Look at these big ass green candles. The first day of the 2x event, I didn't even know. I kind of forgot that it was Mission Chief's birthday. I don't know how I forgot, but I forgot. I logged on. I woke up. Surprisingly, I woke up really early. This is because of my dog. He wakes me up all the time, whenever he wants. He's like, I want to play. And I woke up at 11 o'clock in the morning, which I would have slept like another 4 hours, maybe 5 hours if I was lucky. And then I get my Discord, and luckily I have an alliance who tells me, and they tell everyone when it's 2 times, because people live in different time zones, and it's kind of nice when people message me like, hey, it's 2 times. I'm like, hell yeah. So I get on right away. I literally run to my computer, open it up, and get going. Now, now I should probably get my calculator up. I'm going to get the calculator on my phone, and let's take a look here. Okay, day one of 2 times, I made 12,937,604 credits. Sorry, this is going to take a little bit of time just to type into my calculator. 12,937,604 plus the second day of 2 times credits, which I'm like, boys, I'm staying up late. Let's do this. Which I made 15,090,112. The third day, also these end at 11 o'clock, so technically there was 72 hours of double credits, but it comes in different days technically. The third day, I made 16,135,294, and like I said, this ended at 11 o'clock p.m. Central Time, which would be 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Mission Chief runs at Eastern Time because New York, whatever, yada yada yada. So after 11 o'clock, I stayed up until, I don't know what time I went to bed. I think I went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that gives me 5 hours of grinding. Day 4, I made, I just messed it up. No, I didn't. Okay, sorry. Day 4, I made 6,523,372 credits, which brings me to a grand total of 50,686,382 credits for a course of 72 hours. Now, I didn't really have to work that hard for this. I mean, I did. There was so much clicking. You guys have no idea. I was very dedicated, but do you know how long it would have taken me to make 50 million credits over the course of weeks, days? Normally, let's take a look at my previous transactions. Normally, I make between sometimes 3 million. This is really depending on if I'm really into the game in one day. I made 3 million one day. Let's see, another day I made 4 million. Previous day I made another 1 million. And then some other days I don't really play much, and I just make like 150,000. What is this? You can barely even see the bar. 150,000. So on a given day, depending on how influenced I am by Mission Chief, I make around $150,000 a day. But making almost $51 million in a course of 3 days, which makes up for everything. I don't play a lot I don't grind a lot during normal playtime. But in 2 times events, or 2 times in general, I go ham on this game. Okay. With that being said, I just want to show you guys how much money I made. Not that I'm bragging, but I did dedicate a lot of time to this. I also have a huge setup. With that being said, okay. Now, how did I make that much money? Here's a few things to help you guys make money. Okay, first off is having a large setup. Now make sure you guys have large setups, because the more fire stations, police stations you have, the more queue you have. Now when I say queue, I mean every station you do adds 1 mission to the queue. I currently have 361 calls in the queue, which is huge. Now this is all going to make sense in here in just a sec. But the more stations, the more police stations you have, adds more to the queue. Now the longer the queue is, the more missions get generated. So when I grind, I'm not at my computer 24/7 answering calls. I answer calls, and then I go play Xbox or watch a movie for about 2 hours. Now I have 361 pending calls currently, and that's my maximum. The more more fire stations you get, the more call queue you get. Okay, so now that you guys get that point, here hear me out. Okay. So if we go under mission speed, with premium time, you can get a call that generates every 20 seconds. Normally, if you're not on premium time, you can only get a call that generates every, wait for it, 30 seconds. So what does that mean? If I take 361 calls, we got to do conversions here. 360 calls times 20 seconds. Let's see here. Let's do 360 times 20 seconds, which is 2 hours. Almost 2 hours. So it gives me 2 hours. If I go in this whole queue, answer all of these 361 calls from start to finish, I will have 2 hours to do whatever I want away from Mission Chief. So what I do is I go play Xbox, I do the dishes, or I just do some housework around the house, or I don't know. I keep busy. You know, like I said, I've even bring the dog to the dog park, and I made it back within 2 hours, and it's just the calls were still generating because I left my computer open. So that's another thing. Leaving your computer open, letting your calls generate, or leaving your phone on if you guys have that. Sometimes what I do when I'm driving to work and I don't have my computer open because I do play Xbox at work, but don't tell my boss. I also play Mission Chief at work. But sometimes when I'm driving to work and it's 2 times, I'll actually leave my phone on, like in my pocket, while I'm driving to work, so it continues to generate calls. So that's another thing I do. Okay. But the other thing is, a lot of the money I make is actually within the fire department. Now, if we take a look here under credits, let's go under summary day. And we're going to go back to... Yeah, we're going to go backwards here. Okay. So during this event, this last double credits event, this is on the 20... Actually, we'll do the 22nd here just for shits and giggles. The 22nd, which the 22nd, I think I made 15 million credits or whatever. I made... Here's where all the money came from. I did 994 patient treatment and transports, aka I sent that many ambulances to the hospital, and it yielded me 1.4 million credits. That's a lot of money. But the other thing is the Coast Guard. Now, I highly recommend doing the Coast Guard. It is definitely worth your time. If you guys aren't doing the Coast Guard, I recommend doing it. A lot of my money, if you look here, the top 15 is Coast Guard. Now I've said this before, but a lot of people don't get on where the money comes. It's a huge upfront cost to build the U.S. Coast Guard or Canadian Coast Guard, or any country really has a Coast Guard except for some unmentionables. Let's take a look here. Coast Guard call, Coast Guard call, Coast Guard call, Coast Guard calls, Coast Guard call, Coast Guard call, Coast Guard call, Coast Guard, Coast Guard, Coast Guard, and Coast Guard, and anything else? No, that's it. But like I said, the top 15 all Coast Guard. The other ones, patient treatments. Guess what? These Coast Guard calls create patients too, which incentivizes patient treatment and transports, which yields 1,440 credits per patient transport. So every time I click ambulance go to hospital, it gives me 1,500 credits. Easy. And of course, all the other stuff just comes from random calls like road cleanup, burning wind turbine. I mean, 50,000 here, 50,000 there. I mean, it really does add up. Conflagration major, any call that causes just a ton of resources, I love. Also, I just unlocked this new mission called Oil Rig Explosion. And on one instance, this oil rig explosion yielded, on average, 102,000 credits because it's on 2.5 times. It's crazy. But this is taking the average of 102,047. So I just want to show you guys. Actually, I won't show you. I'll just have to read it off to you because it's on my phone. I completed this one of these oil rig explosion calls. It yielded me 139,122 credits from completing one mission. That's a lot of change. So that's where I make my money from. Like I said, the U.S. Coast Guard takes an immense amount of upfront cost. You're talking in the millions. I can't tell you how much the Coast Guard has costed me, but it's paid for itself. Like I've said before, it's paid for itself. But it's an astronomical amount of money that it costs to build the Coast Guard. Each one of these boat stations costs $500,000 or $500,000. Each air station costs $1 million. That's excluding the hangars and the actual boats. But if we're going to go swing back to boat calls, the boat stations, each boat costs $50,000 to $75,000 per boat. Plus, you have to train the personnel, which is free in the alliance, but some alliances do charge you, so do with that information what you will. Coast Guard. Highly recommend it. Anywho, with that being said, what else am I missing? I pretty much showed you guys how I make my money, where the money comes from. What else am I forgetting? The call queue, make sure you guys are taking advantage of that. And if you guys aren't using premium time, I'd recommend doing it. And if you're going to do it efficiently. Make sure you're running turbo speed so you can make those calls. The quicker you can make calls, the quicker you can end the calls and get that money. So yeah, that's the other thing. The other thing, I guess you could say is make sure you guys are streamlining your 911 systems to your fullest. For instance, this falling light pole literally takes me like 3 seconds to answer. Huge. It's a little bit laggy since I'm recording, but it is 100% worth it. Anyway, one other thing, and I just forgot. Okay, if you guys are gonna do something, they just added this feature just a few days ago. It wasn't a few days. It was a few weeks ago, maybe months ago. But you can now organize your calls by credits. So your high-ranking credit calls are always going to go to the top, and your low-ranking ones are going to be at the bottom. So I highly recommend doing the max credits first, if I were you guys. But I think that pretty much wraps it up on everything I was going to say about making money, spending money, and this and that. But I think that wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I hope you guys found something special, maybe something informational about this video. If not, that's okay. Maybe I'll just rant on whatever I want to rant about. But without further ado, welcome to Mission Chief, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying the channel. I do come out with content every once in a while. But as always, you guys are welcome to join the Alliance under two circumstances. For one, you guys are playing the game realistically. That means putting your fire stations on the correct real-life fire station and putting the correct apparatus inside those fire stations and the correct apparatus inside the police departments as well. As close to humanly possible as you can. Granted, this is Mission Chief, so you do have to kind of tweak it a little bit and sometimes do things that you wouldn't normally do in real life, but we try to make things as accurate as possible. It is 100%, you're 100% able to do it that way, play that way, without breaking the game. And the second thing is, I guess more like a third, but once an area is taken in our map, it's actually excluded permanently. So we don't station stack, so that means if someone's playing in New York City, like in the Bronx, or I don't really know the boroughs per se, but if you're playing in Manhattan, I think this is Manhattan if I'm not mistaken. If you're playing in Manhattan and Manhattan's already taken, unfortunately we just can't accept you into it. But once you get multiple people who are playing in different boroughs per se, the Bronx, Queens, Jersey City, everyone can communicate with each other and kind of share calls and send apparatus that you wouldn't normally send. Now, if there was 50 people playing in Manhattan, it would cause so much lag you don't even know. It would be wild. There's alliances out there that do that, which is fine. You know, do what you gotta do. But just know that it causes huge amounts of lag, and it's more fun when you have an area that's really yours and you can kind of share calls and share apparatus and stuff like that with your neighbor. Anyways, I guess I should probably say which alliance I'm in. We are actually, hold on, show alliance. Here we go. We are North American Realism. Pretty much all of our rules are here. We're seeking members wishing to play build as realistically as possible. yada yada yada. That's our alliance. Hope that summed it up for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this double credit talk, and maybe some tips and tricks on how to make that. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.